Шановна громадо, дякуємо вам, що були нині небайдужні та долучились до відмічення третьої річниці жахливої війни путінської Росії проти мирного та волелюбного українського народу. Вже 3 роки російські бандити вбивають українців, грабують наші землі та намагаються знищити наш народ. Незважаючи на ці зусилля кримінального російського народу, українці не зламались, але і далі воюють за свою волю та право існувати. My name is Andrei Shvets, and I have the honor of being your Master of Ceremonies for this rally.
We are gathered here today to commemorate the 3rd anniversary of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. This war has impacted everybody's lives. My father's dear friend and former classmate, Ostap Ladika, is currently on the front lines. Hearing the horror stories and how brutal it is in Ukraine's east from a person living this nightmare is heartbreaking. Putin and his thugs have desecrated Ukrainian land and killed hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians, but Ukrainians have resisted. Thanks to our allies and partners, we have demonstrated that Western democracies can indeed stand up to brutal authoritarian regimes. Let us all continue our support of Ukraine and do what we can to deliver a quick and lasting victorious peace. My name is Anna Maria Procek, and I will be your MC today.
We now ask you to join us for a minute of silence to remember those that have died and to honor those that have fallen in defense of Ukraine.
Просимо всіх на хвилину мовчання, щоб згадати тих, хто
Ми просимо
загинули.
вас зупинити, встати з місця або схилити голову на цю мить, що б ви не робили. Хвилина мовчання – це вияв поваги та пам'яті про військових, які загинули, захищаючи нашу незалежність.
Боже великий, Боже всесильний, ми, діти Твої, у смиренні сердець наших приходимо до Тебе і схиляємо свої голови. Отче, будь милостивим до нас грішних. Прийми нині, благаємо Тебе, щиру молитву нашу і подяку за Твоє безмежне милосердя до нас. Вислухай наші молитви і прийми благання змучених сердець України. Благослови нашу вільну батьківщину. Подай Україні мир, спокій, волю і щастя. Примилосердний Господи, хто дається до Тебе з благанням, ніколи не відходить від Тебе невислуханим.
We implore you, O merciful God, look with grace upon our soldiers who are abused and suffered in prison and captivity. Remember their widows, the orphans, the disciplined and helpless, those who need your mercy and help. Unite us in one great family of Christ, so that all people as brothers and sisters may glorify your magnificent name, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, and unto the ages of ages. Amen. Слава Ісусу Христу! Слава Україні!
А зараз запрошую усіх вас разом заспівати духовний гімн України «Боже великий єдиний». Right now, I'd like to invite all of you to intone a spiritual anthem of Ukraine, God's merciful and great.
We are truly fortunate to have one of Ukraine's top spiritual leaders present with us. Ukraine's priests have always offered spiritual support to Ukrainians even in the most difficult times, when the church was banned under the Soviet Union. It is our honor to invite the Blessed Patriarch Sviatoslav of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church to deliver remarks.
Слава Ісусу Христу! Glory be to Jesus Christ! Це для мене сьогодні велика Божа благодать і привілей до вас, українців, зібраних тут у Торонто, передати потужний, переможний привіт із незламного Києва, із нашої матері України. Today is my privilege and honor to be here with you and to be a voice of the heroical but martyred Ukraine, to be a voice of the capital of Ukraine, the city of Kyiv. And our message, which I would like to bring to you, that Ukraine is alive. Ukraine still standing. Ukraine is fighting. Ukraine is praying. Україна стоїть. Україна бореться і Україна молиться. I'd like to express our deepest gratitude to all people of goodwill who stand with us, who support Ukraine, who pray for us. Thank you for your solidarity. Thank you for being right now in this rally in Toronto with the worldwide Ukrainian community. I have to assure you that it is not possible to appease an evil. It is not possible to not negotiate with an incarnated evil which right now is trying to destroy Ukraine. Ми добре знаємо, що цілі агресора і дуже чіткі і зрозумілі. Вони заявляють, що українців нема, українського народу не існує, що Україна – це тільки територія. І тому намагаються торгуватися про територію. Але ми сьогодні показуємо, що 60-мільйонний український народ в Україні на поселеннях сьогодні разом відстоює свою свободу і незалежність. Today we would like to convey a message to the whole world that Ukraine stands not for money, not for some earthly proposals. Ukraine fights for truth, for justice, for freedom, and for the future. And we know that God is with us, because God is always on the side of the innocent victim. God is suffering in the flesh of Ukrainian nation. І тому ми знаємо, що сила Божа є у нас. Та сила Божа, яка дає нам силу вистояти. І ми сьогодні хочемо сказати на цілий світ, той народ, який вірить у Воскресіння, неможливо перемогти. Ми сьогодні запевняємо усіх, що українці ніколи не здадуть своєї свободи, ніколи не повернуться назад у рабство. Ukrainians never will come back again to the slavery. Will never be a colony of the neo-colonist empire. Ukraine is and will be free. Slava Ukraini! Glory to Ukraine!
Ukraine's allies have come to its defense, and this is in no small part thanks to the efforts of Ukraine's diplomatic team. Consul General Oleg Nikolenko is a strong supporter of the Ukrainian cause abroad and a friend of the Ukrainian Canadian community. Next, to speak on behalf of the people of Ukraine, please warmly welcome Consul General of Ukraine in Toronto, Oleg Nikolenko.
Slava Ukraini! Dear Ukrainians, dear compatriots, thank you so much for coming today and be with us all together. This morning, I had a conversation with my son. He asked me, Dad, has there ever been peace in Ukraine? He was born in 2014, 6 months after the occupation of Crimea. In his entire life, he has never known a peaceful Ukraine. There is an entire generation of Ukrainian children, like my son, from whom Russia has stolen a peaceful childhood. We continued conversation and he said he was worried about what might happen next. And I want to share with you what I told him. Ukraine survived against all odds. We endured the Holodomor, the Second World War, Soviet oppression, and Russia's attempts to erase Ukrainian identity and statehood. In 2022, when Putin ordered his troops to seize Ukrainian cities, he expected to be greeted with flowers. But instead, the Russian army was met with resistance and our unbreakable resolve. Because we know what we are fighting for. We are fighting for our people, our land, and our independence. We fight so that our children, like my son, can decide their own future and the future of our country. People in Ukraine may feel exhausted. Some global news may seem to be discouraging. But now is not the time to ease the fight. On the contrary, our anger must fuel more action. We must consolidate our efforts and continue supporting Ukraine and each other. I want to thank the federal government and the provincial government of Ontario for standing with Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. I want also to thank the City of Toronto and Mayor Olivia Chow, who is with us today. Thank you so much, Mayor, for being the friend of Ukraine and the friend of Consulate. Thank you so much. I would be remiss if I didn't express my gratitude to Ukrainian organizations, especially to the Ukrainian Canadian Congress and its branch in Toronto, for their steadfast support and care. While I thank Canada, I also want to express my solidarity with this country as you face your own challenges. No country in the world wants peace more than Ukraine, but this peace must be comprehensive, lasting, and just. For this to happen, Ukraine must be strong on the battlefield and have the necessary military support. We also need reliable security guarantees. Additionally, together with our partners, we must be able to increase pressure on Russia. Peace through strength, not appeasement. Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. This is the principle. This is our principle, and this is the only path to peace. It is the only way to ensure that this war will not happen again. So my message today is the following. Let's unite our efforts and let's take urgent action. We must resist attempts to create a world where using force and seizing territories become the norm. Let me say a few words in Ukrainian. Дорогі українці, дуже вам дякую, що ви сьогодні прийшли. Нас так багато, і це означає, що ми разом, ми єдині і ми сильні. Як би не було зараз всім нам важко, але ми неодмінно переможемо. Жодні обставини не зможуть нас зламати і не зможуть зламати нашої віри в Україну. Продовжуйте боротьбу, продовжуємо всі разом боротьбу за майбутнє України. Залишайте розум холодним, а серце гарячим. Робимо все можливе на своєму місці, кожен на своєму місці. Поширюємо інформацію про Україну, говоримо до наших канадських друзів, розповідаємо правду. Не забуваємо донатити на ЗСУ. Підтримуємо рідних. І говоримо з нашими дітьми. Плекаємо любов до України, до всього українського. Тому що разом ми сила, разом ми непереможні. Слава Україні!
Гімн справжньої непереможної української армії!
Зродились ми великої години, з пожеж війни і з полум'я вогнів, плекав нас біль за долю України, розпив нас гнів і лють на ворогів, плекав нас біль за долю України, розпив нас гнів і лють на ворогів.
І саме за те, що ми любимо українську мову і українську державу, нас називають націоналістами. Давайте всі разом націоналісти! Слава Україні!
Переможним ходом тверді міцні, незламні мов граніт, бо плач не дав нікому ще свободи, а хто борець, той здобуває світ, бо плач не дав нікому ще свободи, а хто борець, той здобуває світ.
І зараз ми будемо робити так, що все Торонто і вся Канада, і весь світ має знати, що Україна чекає на визволення, Україна чекає перемоги. Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава нації! Слава нації! Слава нації! Україна! Україна!
Наш бій, борців упавших слава, для нас закон, найвищий то наказ, соборна українська є держава, одна навік, від Сяду до Кавказ, соборна українська є держава, одна навік, від Сяду до Кавказ, соборна українська є держава, одна навік, від Сяду до Кавказ.
Слава Україні!
Made possible today by the organization of the Stand With Ukraine Committee of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress Toronto branch. Next, please welcome the chair of the Stand With Ukraine Committee, Markian Schweiz.
Слава Україні! Я вас не чую. Слава Україні! Дорогі гості, члени нашої громади, ви чули прекрасні слова з України, як молодь на передовій стоїть, обороняючи наші рідні землі. Вони стоять сьогодні, чи є зимно, чи тепло, чи дощ, чи сніг. Вони стоять в обороні нашої батьківщини. Вони потребують нашу допомогу. Знаєте, говорять про мир, говорять, що щось буде. Але поки то буде, то ми мусимо далі підтримувати тих молодих і старших людей, які є на передовій. Вони не піддаються. The men and women on the front of Ukraine who are standing there today need our support, our moral support, our political support.
The City of Toronto has stood with Ukraine since the first days of Russia's illegal invasion. We thank the people and the City of Toronto for its continued support. In particular, we thank Mayor Chow for always demonstrating her support of Ukraine and our community here. To speak on behalf of the City of Toronto, please welcome Mayor Olivia Chow.
Friends, our hearts and our thoughts are with the people of Ukraine as the battle for freedom and democracy enters the third year. I feel the energy, I feel the passion, I feel the commitment of all of you here. Even as some seek to switch alliances or alter truth, the City of Toronto will always stand with Ukraine, and the people of Toronto will always stand with Ukraine. The Ukrainian flag will continue to fly out there until Ukraine win the war and triumph. I have informed the Council General of Ukraine in Toronto that the city will be donating 3 SUVs and 2 ambulances to our sister city, Kiev. This is in addition to 12 vehicles and the generators previously sent there. It's a small donation, but we hope it could assist the Ukrainian people to maintain their courageous fight. And no matter how long it takes, Toronto will continue to welcome the people that are leaving Ukraine, that have to escape to seek shelter. We will house them and provide food, support, and help their families settle here, to heal, to find community with all of you, and to find hope in these dark times, because together we are stronger. The plight of the Ukrainian refugees remind me of my mother. When Japan invaded China, my mom lost her mom, my grandmother. I've never met any of my grandparents. She lost her brother. She ran from town to town, escaping rape and starvation and death. At one point, Japan controlled 25% of China and 30% of its people. And yet truth, justice, sovereignty won. That's why Ukraine, because it has truth on its side, it has justice on its side, it has democracy on its side, and it has freedom on its side, Ukraine will triumph. And it's been a long 3 years of struggle. It's hard. Winter is cold. Children should be playing house, not playing funeral. They should have a warm bed rather than run to shelter. But the strength and the spirit of the Ukrainian people continues to be strong. It continues to inspire all of us. And by standing firm, Ukrainians are not just defending their land and their freedom, but also democracy and justice. It is the inspiration that we in Canada and we in the world needs right now. That is why Toronto will always stand with Ukraine. Our whole city will stand with you. We salute your courage, your commitment, and hope that the future is one of peace, democracy, and prosperity. Slava Ukraini! Thank you.
Canada has, for over 125 years, had a vibrant Ukrainian-Canadian diaspora, and has been a place where Ukrainians have felt welcomed and have contributed greatly to their new homeland. Many Ukrainian Canadians have contributed to the development and well-being of Canada and have held prominent roles in Canadian society and government. Chrystia Freeland, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, is one of such Ukrainians. Joining her will be Yvonne Baker, MP Etobicoke Centre, and MP James Maloney, Etobicoke Lakeshore, and bringing official greetings from the Government of Canada, the Honourable Robert Oliphant, Parliamentary Secretary to Minister of Foreign Affairs, MP for Don Valley West.
Шановна громадо, шановні українці, канадійці, шановне духовенство, слава Україні! Нам зимно сьогодні, правда? It's a little bit cold today. Але подумайте, як зимно хлопцям і дівчатам на фронті. Подумаємо, які вони молодці, які вони відважні. І крикнемо їм раз, щоб вони нас почули. Слава Україні! It is with real sadness that I am here today, because it is terrible that today is the 3rd anniversary of the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, and that war continues. But it is with real pride in our Ukrainian-Canadian community, in all of the allies who are here with us, and in Canada and our support for the brave people of Ukraine that I am here. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here right now. It's very, very important. C'est tellement important pour nous d'être ici aujourd'hui. C'est un signe important pour les Ukrainiens, pour l'Ukraine, pour tout le Canada et pour tout le monde. On est ici pour démontrer qu'on continue d'appuyer l'Ukraine et les Ukrainiens et qu'on comprenne l'importance de cette guerre. Truth is important. So let's be clear about what is happening right now. Let's start with clarity about this war. This is an illegal criminal invasion that was started by Vladimir Putin and his criminal regime. To say otherwise is an utter lie, and we need to be very clear about that. We need to be very clear that Ukraine is a democracy with a democratically elected leader that is standing strong in defense of its democracy against a cruel criminal dictator. We are clear about that, aren't we? Now, I said that I was very proud of our amazing Ukrainian-Canadian community, and I am. I am so proud of everything Ukrainians have contributed to our wonderful Canada, and I am proud to be Ukrainian-Canadian, to have raised 3 amazing Ukrainian-Canadian children, Ivan, Had, and Natalka. But as a member of parliament, as a minister, my support for Ukraine was not because of our amazing Ukrainian-Canadian community. Canada's support for Ukraine is because Canada understands that the fight in Ukraine is the fight between democracy and dictatorship. Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom and their sovereignty and their democracy, but every single minute they are fighting for us too. That's why we need to support them. Ukrainians are fighting for a world in which might does not make right. Ukrainians are fighting for a world in which just because you're bigger than the country next door and you have a bigger army, you're not allowed to invade them. This is an absolutely critical principle for Ukraine, for all the democratic countries of the world, and for Canada as well. And that is why it is so crucial for us to continue to support the brave women and men fighting for Ukraine today. And we have to say clearly to Vladimir Putin and also to Donald Trump that Canada understands the stakes in this fight, and in this fight we are on the side of democracy versus dictatorship. We are on the side of rules and borders and not bullies. And we as Canadians, we should be proud. We have done a lot to support Ukraine. I am really proud that as finance minister, I was able to lead an effort before the US election to get $50 billion of Putin's money transferred to Ukraine? We did that. Absolutely critical, more critical today than ever. And today, Canada has such an important role to play for Ukraine, for ourselves, for the idea of democracy and the rules in the world. We are important. We can and must make a difference. Now is the moment for Canada to continue that work we've been doing for the past 3 years, but we need to step it up now. Ukraine needs more help than ever, and the rules and democracy need more help than ever. So it's time for us to be reaching out urgently to our allies in Europe, to our partners in the European Union, in the UK, Norway, all of the world's democracies, the ones who understand what is at stake, and to lead a renewed effort, a renewed alliance to support Ukraine, to support democracy, to support the rules in the world. I know that Canada can do that. I know Canada must do that for Ukraine and for ourselves. Alors, c'est tellement important d'être ensemble aujourd'hui. C'est tellement important d'être clair que l'Ukraine doit gagner, que Poutine doit perdre. It is so important for us today to understand what is at stake, to understand that Canada has a direct stake in this fight, that our national security is implicated as well, and to say today to everyone in Canada, to our democratic allies around the world, to the brave people of Ukraine, Ukraine must win. Putin must be defeated, and Canada will stand with Ukraine until that happens. До перемоги! Слава Україні! Слава Канаді! Дякую вам дуже.
Mr. Freeland on this stage, Your Eminences, I want to thank you for holding us in prayer and for holding Ukraine in prayer this and every day. Your Worship, thank you for your words and speaking on behalf of all Torontonians. My thanks also to the Ukrainian Canadian Congress here in Toronto and across the country for reminding us persistently, faithfully, patiently, but doggedly always about the importance of standing with Ukraine. And my colleagues Yvonne Baker and James Maloney, who are together part of this team that will stand with Ukraine. I bring you greetings from the Prime Minister of Canada and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Melanie Joly, who today are standing together with you and the fight in Ukraine for freedom and peace. I have one word for you, and that is that no one will write the next chapter of Ukraine other than Ukraine. Russia will not write the next chapter. The United States will not write the next chapter. Even Canada will not write this next chapter. What Canada will do will stand with Ukraine every step of the way until every child is returned who's been illegally detained in Russia. Canada will stand with Ukraine until every home is rebuilt. Canada will stand with Ukraine until power is restored in every part of the land of Ukraine. Canada will stand with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.
Україні! It is such an honor to be with so many proud Canadians, Ukrainians, and people from many other backgrounds. It warms my heart to see the flags of solidarity in the crowd. People from Hong Kong, from Vietnam, from Baltic countries, from Taiwan, from every possible community here to stand with the people of Ukraine and show their support. I want to start by sharing a letter from Pierre Poilievre, the leader of His Majesty's Loyal Opposition. He writes, on behalf of Canada's Common Sense Conservatives, it is an honor to send greetings to the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress and everyone gathered to mark this solemn anniversary. 3 years ago, the Russian Federation began its unjustified, full-scale invasion of Ukraine. In the days that followed, the whole world would see the horrors that were visited on peaceful Ukrainian cities and the suffering of countless families driven from their homes. Since then, we have also witnessed the incredible bravery and resilience of the Ukrainian people, whether in the Ukrainian armed forces, as civilian volunteers, or ordinary citizens who refuse to surrender their dignity. I am proud that it was the Canadian government under Prime Minister Stephen Harper that led the charge to exclude the Russian Federation from the G8. I firmly believe that they cannot be allowed to return, and that no negotiations about Ukraine should happen without Ukraine. As you gather to honor these innocent Ukrainians who have been killed, injured, kidnapped, and displaced, know that Common Sense Conservatives stand in solidarity with you. Slava Ukraini!
Dear friends, today is the eve of very tragic anniversary. A terrorist state, Russia, 3 years launched a terrible genocidal war against Ukraine. Today, having these two flags, Lithuanian and Ukrainian, in my hands, I have a very clear and very strong message to our Ukrainian friends, to our Ukrainian sisters and brothers. Lithuania has been and always will be with you, no matter what. Supporting Ukraine, Lithuania stands together with Canada, a great country, stands together with other democratic and freedom-loving nations. Ukraine today is fighting not only for its freedom and independence, they are fighting also for ours. Because a terrorist Russia today is the most significant and direct threat to all of us, to all democratic states, and Ukraine is protecting us. And dear friends, any appeasement with the aggressor would lead to bigger catastrophe. It would cause more losses, damages, and destruction. Lithuania alone lost 25% of its population because of the appeasement with Russia in 1945 in Yalta. So let's unite our efforts, enhance our support to Ukraine, because only Ukraine's victory against this empire of evil would protect our free and bright future. Slava Ukraini!
In support of Ukraine, as well as raise funds to support the troops on the front lines. Please welcome Paul Grod, President of the Ukrainian World Congress, to deliver remarks.
Mr. Ambassador, I wanted to say Akchu, which is thank you in Lithuanian. Akchu. I was in Vilnius for the NATO Leaders Summit, and I have to say that I was amazed to see the incredible support of the Lithuanian people. I've actually never seen so many flags in one city at one time as it did in July of 2023. And Lithuanian people genuinely are standing with Ukraine. So thank you, Ambassador, and thank you to Lithuanian people. Dear Ukrainians and friends of Ukraine, thank you for standing with Ukraine. This is an incredible experience to know that there are hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians and friends of Ukraine that over these days are standing with Ukraine. There is a global action called Stand With Ukraine, Unite in Victory, where together we are standing with Ukrainians and friends of Ukraine in over 80 countries around the world. Over 1,000 events are taking place in over 700 cities across the world in supporting Ukraine. We are standing with Ukraine as a large global community. It's important for us to remind those around us why we are standing with Ukraine. Number one, we are standing with Ukraine to show the people of Ukraine who today are on the front lines that they are not abandoned, that we are with them and we will stand with them and we'll make sure that the people around us stand with Ukraine. Today, it's a very difficult time for them. They're listening to some of the words coming out of Washington with great trepidation. So it's important for all of us to act and act more decisively than what we have. It's important for us to double down on what we've been doing to help Ukraine, because Ukraine is facing some very, very rough waters ahead of us. I just came back from Washington yesterday where I was in front of a crowd similar to this size in front of Lincoln Memorial. And the Ukrainian Americans, frankly, are very concerned. They're very concerned that the U.S. administration may be abandoning Ukraine. And that is why it is incredibly important that we, as Ukrainian Canadians, double down and ensure that Canada doubles down in support of Ukraine, that Canada and Europe stand strong in support of Ukraine, because we are concerned, and we should be concerned. We need to be more active in making sure that the Canadians, that all of us actually work very hard to ensure that Canadians understand what is going on in Ukraine, because people forget. They listen to the Russian propaganda. It's hard to believe that from Ukraine being a darling in the United States to now being a toxic word in the United States among Republicans. And that is very, very concerning. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to make sure that the people of Canada, that the people of the United States, the people of the free world understand what is going on in Ukraine and don't fall prey to the Russian disinformation which is among us. Ladies and gentlemen, we must stand strong, and it's really up to us to make sure that Russia pays. We need to make sure that we impose further sanctions, not weakening sanctions. And that's why we must stand up to those who try to appease Russia. We must make Russia pay. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine needs one thing, and they need a just and lasting peace. And a just peace means that we're not asking for peace at any cost. It's important, and I just want to echo the words of Chrystia Freeland when she says that Ukraine's victory has to also come with Russia's defeat. And too few global leaders want to say the word defeat of Russia. Russia must be defeated. Without Russia's defeat, we will not have a just and lasting peace. Russia must be brought to account. They must pay for Ukraine's reconstruction. We must bring to justice and put Putin in jail. We must put Putin in jail. 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 In order for there to be a lasting peace, Ukraine must become a member of NATO. Ukraine must be armed and have a military like President Zelensky is calling for 1.5 million military size. And we need support from our allies in order to build up that type of an army. Ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine is facing some rough waters, and we must not despair. We must act. We will together ensure Ukraine's victory. Our brave men and women soldiers, Збройні Сили України, are defending Ukraine. And I just want to conclude with a shout out to Збройні Сили України. Слава Збройним силам України! Слава! 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 Слава Збройним силам України! Slava! 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 Let's stand with Ukraine and ensure Ukraine's victory. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Mr. Drive.
Abandons what little humanity he has. He murders, rapes, pillages, and damns his soul for eternity. But his mother, if she repatriates her son's body after he becomes Putin's cannon fodder, will bury him as a hero. She will never once blame Putin. She will, as generations of Russians have done before her, vilify Ukrainian kulaks, chachli, Nazis, banderovci. And yet some Western leaders, secular and religious, not only parrot this propaganda, they tell us that peace is possible with such a people. They tell us to forgive genocide, to turn the other cheek, to practice brotherly love, to forget about justice for the victims of Russia's war crimes, to forget about getting our children back, to abandon the memory of our friends and family who died defending us. Others, practitioners of the art of the deal, demand that we pay not only with Ukrainian lives, but with Ukrainian treasure, all in exchange for a peace deal that they are not even prepared to defend. As Ukrainians, we must defend the rule of law and help build the new international world order. Our southern neighbors have lost their way, but we are better than that. Even though we are being subjected to Donald Trump's special economic operation, remember that we will only pay with our wallets. Ukrainians pay with their lives. So now is not the time to despair or to tire. We have faced darkness before, and Ukraine has been counted out before. There is a reason that our national anthem starts with «Ще не вмерла Україна». The resilience, creativity, and unity of the Ukrainian people will continue to inspire, and we will surprise the world again. So now is the time to unite with Ukraine, to remember that no matter how long the night, daylight always breaks, to remember that tyrants fall and that freedom always wins. Now is the time to stand with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
Please welcome Petros Spurin, President of UCC Toronto, to deliver remarks.
Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Слава Україні! Дякуємо вам, що ви вийшли. Thank you to all that have joined us today. Thank you to all our friends, the Baltics, people from Hong Kong and Taiwan. Thank you for all of you that continue to stand with Ukraine. And I especially want to thank Mayor Chow for our endless support and allowing us to take over the stage, to take over Nathan Phillips Square. She always says, whatever you need, just call me. Thank you. And we are so proud to see the Ukrainian flag. So many people, tourists that come from other cities say, wow, you guys still have a flag out front. And this city continues to do that. Thank you. Давайте будемо далі співпрацювати. As I told a reporter yesterday, it's not over, it's far from over, but no Ukrainian will ever give up, because we know how to fight for freedom. We will win, and then we will join here in the near future to celebrate Ukraine's victory. Ще раз дякую вам, брати і сестри. Разом до перемоги! Слава Україні!
Next, we would like to recognize all of our special guests that have attended today. If you're present on the stage, please step up. We'd like Дякуємо всім, що прибули нині. Ваша присутність показує, що канадійці дбають за майбутнє України. Незважаючи, чи ваша сім'я приїхала 100 років тому чи вчора, ми всі з'єднані нині за майбутнє України. Закликаємо наших провідників швидко братися, щоб подолати Росію та її імперію нині. Просимо Отаву та тих, що долучуються, виконати гімни Канади та України.
світить вона, українське сонце зійшло. Українське сонце зійшло. Українське сонце зійшло. Українське сонце